And right now, we are 2 minutes away from the end of the trading day. Romaine Bostick alongside Katie Greifeld, taking you through to that closing bell with the global simulcast. It started. Carol Massar, Tim Stenovec, they're in the radio booth. Welcome to our audiences across all of our Bloomberg platforms, including our partnership with YouTube. Post-Fed Day, post-Oracle Day.
Yeah.
And you take a look at the price action, Carol Massar, and what does it tell you?
I know we've had, two records, Dow and S&P intraday. I don't know. They're little moves, at least certainly for the S&P 500. But, yeah, who'd have thunk? And I'm not quite sure what to make of it.
Well, it's post-Fed Day, it's post-Oracle Day, but it's still Costco Day, Broadcom Day, RH Day, and Lululemon Day. So there's still, companies that are reporting how consumers are doing. We're going to hear from all of them in just a few minutes. And also on the AI trade for Broadcom.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, I feel like there's one company in that bunch that could really determine the direction of trading when we come in tomorrow morning. That, of course, is Broadcom. It's interesting to see this pushback on Oracle. And the question Romaine and I have been talking about is basically whether this is Oracle specific, those shareholders saying this is enough when it comes to AI spending, or whether or not, this extends to other companies in the space as well.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up, Katie Greifeld, because it brings me to my favorite word, a word I just learned a few months ago, which is the Ouroboros.
Ouroboros.
Ouroboros. I'm getting
it.
There. Because it gets to this, in all seriousness, we talk about this idea of whether it's Oracle specific, but when you look at the interconnectivity between the deals it's made with NVIDIA, with OpenAI, et cetera, you start to realize that maybe whatever is Oracle specific, well, unfortunately, might actually be specific to some other companies as well. We do get the closing bells here in New York on this Thursday afternoon, and a mixed bag. But as you were just alluding to, you take a look at the S&P 500, a gain of just about 15 points. That may not look like much, but it's 6,900 and change. That's going to be good enough for a record high, up about 0.2% here on this Thursday afternoon. Meanwhile, the NASDAQ Composite and the NASDAQ 100 going in the opposite direction, down about 2 to 0.3%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is going to close at a record high, up more than 600 points or 1.3%. And the Russell 2000 getting in on the action as well. In fact, that's your relative outperformer on the day, up 1.2%. to a fresh record high.
All right, I'm going to go back to the big caps, the S&P 500, though. Even though the index overall...
What day, Carol, pop quiz, did the Russell 2000 start trading?
Oh, my gosh.
I don't know.
I'd say early 80s.
Why do you know that?
1979. You were close, Tim.
Look at that.
And thank you for guessing, Tim Stenovec, and playing along.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, sorry about that.
I thought you were going to ask her what an Ouroboros is.
Oh, God. It's a snake that eats itself, or a dragon.
This is a reference to the cyclicality of the AI funding?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a daisy chain.
Moving right along. S&P 500, despite a slightly higher gain in the overall average.
Circularity, excuse me.
Should we let Carol
talk?
Seen most names. My God, it's like being around my family. Most names in the S&P 500 up 366 names to the upside, 133 to the downside, 4 unchanged. Go ahead.
All right, let's talk about the circle. Pretty good breath when it comes to the sector performance. 8 of 11 sectors finishing in the green, 3 in the red. Materials, your outperformer in a big way. That sector higher by 2.2%. Financials not too far behind, 1.8% higher. Industrials, healthcare also catching a bit. In terms of what didn't perform today, you can see information technology certainly worth a big chunk of the circle. But it was communication services down 1%. That was your worst performer, Carol.
Okay, Katie. All right, let's get to some of the individual gainers on this Thursday. I'm going to go to the fertilizer companies. We saw Mosaic. What?
Go on.
Did you grunt?
I think he was just shocked at Mosaic being up so much.
Okay, Mosaic up 6.2% here at the close. We did see fertilizer stocks as a whole moving higher. This is after Ukraine said drones had hit 2 fertilizer plants in western Russia on concerns that geopolitical tensions will affect supply chains for key crop nutrients. Keep in mind these affected plants relatively small in context of our overall fertilizer capacity, but our own Bloomberg Intelligence analyst Alexis Maxwell weighing in saying the market priced in expectations for peace, which they're now reversing. So that's why you saw those stocks on the move higher, concerns about shortages, but that certainly plays into those who can deliver and probably charge more and all that good stuff. Hey, Eli Lilly, at its highs today, up about 3.8%, finishing the day with a gain of about 1.6%. A next-generation obesity shot from Lilly helped patients lose almost a quarter of their body weight in 68 weeks. Patients on the highest dose of the drug experienced a more than 62% reduction in knee pain, according to a self-reported questionnaire. We are finding these drugs, you lose weight, your overall health improves. But this one, some outperformance there, and so you definitely saw investors moving into Eli Lilly. And then just quickly, Disney, certainly on our radar today, up about 2.5% at the close. Disney agreeing to invest $1 billion in OpenAI and license iconic characters for use on the startup's AI video platform. We thought this was kind of interesting because Disney's so protective of their IP, but nonetheless, they definitely wanted some kind of relationship with OpenAI, and so investors seem to like it.
And as Hannah Miller reminded us, they're suing Midjourney for creating stuff with characters. So anyway, those are the gainers. I got the decliners. We got to start with Oracle, down close to 11% today, 10.9%. Worst single day since January. At one point in the session, it was down the most, going all the way back to 2001. This after the company escalated its spending on AI data centers and other equipment. It erased more than $100 billion in market value. CapEx, about $12 billion in the quarter. That's an increase from $8.5 billion in the preceding period. Fiscal second quarter cloud sales increased 34% to close to $8 billion. Also, among the worst performers in the S&P 500 on a percentage basis, Robinhood Markets, down 9% today. This after the company reported that November trading volume saw a month-over-month decline due to equity and crypto trading. November assets under custody are $325 billion. This stock still up more than 230% so far this year. And finally, shares of Rivian fell today by 6%. They took a hit after the company unveiled its own AI chip designed to replace NVIDIA tech as part of a broader push to enhance the automated driving vehicle capabilities in its future vehicles. So it's going to equip the upcoming R2 SUV with Rivian Autonomy Processor 1 chips and a new LiDAR sensor that will help Rivian's efforts to eventually offer autonomous driving capability. Once again, Rivian shares down today, 6%.
All right, a quick check on yields, and we should just point out, not a whole lot happened today. In fact, that screen there, we're just going to call it lunch across the board here. We did get obviously a big move lower yesterday here, but yields have still been relatively elevated relative to where they had been just a few months ago here. Again, a market right now still trying to suss out what the Fed does next. We should point out we had Steve Soshnick on a little bit earlier who was talking about this increase in the yield curve, particularly with the 210s, and saying that that's something that we should keep an eye on, though. I think we have some breaking news crossing the wire right now on Lululemon.
Absolutely. We'll get to the earnings, but let's talk about the management change that they are announcing in a statement, announcing that Calvin McDonald plans to step down as CEO and member of the company's board of directors effective January 31st, 2026. Also announcing that Marty Morfitt, she is chair of the board, will take on an expanded role as executive chair effective immediately to, and this is according to the release, ensure the continued execution of the company's near and long-term growth strategy during this transition.
That's a big deal.
You can see the shares spiking right now.
Yeah, Calvin McDonald there
they
since...
need to spike a lot more because they're down like 50% this year.
Yep.
Yeah, Calvin McDonald there since August of 2018, it looks like. So interesting to see these changes. Let's go through some of their financial results, folks. Let's go right to the outlook. Fourth quarter net revenue, $3.5 billion to $3.59 billion. The street estimate was at the higher end, $3.59 billion. Let's go back to the third quarter. Third quarter EPS, $2.59. That's a beat. $2.22 was the street estimate. Third quarter total comp sales FX up 2%. The estimate was a gain of 0.72%. So there's some outperformance there. International comp sales for the third quarter, ex currency up 18%. That too is way above the estimate, street estimate of 10.7% higher. And gross margin for the third quarter, 55.6%. Again, that's a better number than what the street was expecting. They were looking for 54.4%. But again, in terms of the outlook, go ahead, Romaine.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm starting to read through this release here, and I am curious about this idea that they don't actually have a successor set up for McDonald just yet. They're basically starting the search, and it's never really a good sign when you basically announce the departure of the CEO without actually announcing who they're actually replacing that person with. So they basically got, what, if my math is correct, about 7 or 8 weeks to figure this out before he leaves at the end of January.
Well, look, I mean, you mentioned it this year. Shares down 51% so far this year, Romaine. Shares down from a 2023 high, more than 63%. There have been a lot of critics out there, not just of the company, but even people formerly involved in the company. Chip Wilson, for example, has been outspoken about what he thinks should be done at Lululemon. So I agree. Never a good sign when they don't have a successor actually lined up. But we'll see who they pick and if he or she can turn the ship around.
Yeah, a bunch of questions, no doubt about it, on that call with analysts and investors. Stock, by the way, up 7.2% right now in the aftermarket.